Cool. Can you hear me? All right. Hi, everyone. As Emil just said, my name is Sergey, and I'm super excited to share with you what we've been working on for the past year. And also, I've just realized that I'm the last person standing in front of you and the drinks. So please bear with me. I promise it will be interesting. All right, let's start. When we think about work, we see Jira issues, Confluence pages, or blog posts, Bitbucket pull requests, and Trello cards. These objects represent work. They help people to collaborate and get stuff done. Atlassian is all about collaboration. We build products so that teams can work better together. We have all sorts of interactions happening in our products. For example, your manager can assign a Jira issue to you. Your fellow teammate can ask you to review pull request in Bitbucket. Designer from your team can comment on the Confluence page you've been working on. And a colleague from another team can join your Trello card. Now, consider following narrative. Meet Nora. Nora is a software developer, and she is excited to start work on her new project. Nora's project involves integrations with multiple products of the Atlassian suite. She is solving real-life problems by taking advantage of the collaborative work and building an email digest, which sends daily updates about what happened in Jira, Confluence, and Bitbucket. After a bit of research, Nora realizes that there is no single and consistent way of getting access to user activities. Each API has different semantics. This involves translations of one shape to another, figuring out common format. What about supporting more products? With the number of different activities and API, Nora will have to solve scaling issues too. But really, she doesn't want to deal with all that. And as a result, Nora ends up spending more time to learn specifics of each product and the ways to access them in order to get full potential of collaborative capabilities of the Atlassian suite. To give you an idea, this is how Atlassian products help people to access user activities and keep track of the collaborative work today. We have assigned to me in Jira, all updates and popular in Confluence, recently viewed in Trello, recent alarms in Opsgenie, recent pull requests in Bitbucket, recent updates in status page. And of course, there are more. Pretty much every example here is powered by a different API. Now, this is great, don't get me wrong. We have all sorts of tools in our products tailored to the specific needs. So why Nora is having a problem with accessing user activities then? Well, first of all, activities are scattered across different products and instances. This is the insight we know in Atlassian, and it is totally all right. It is a nature of the cloud. People use tailored tooling for their specific needs. Another point is that activities are represented differently. It means that there is no sense of familiarity here. And last but not least is that activities belong in product and can be only accessible from there. For example, you can't see your Bitbucket activity, such as recent pull requests, being inside Confluence. And this is exactly why I'm standing here today, to show you how we are fixing this. Following last year's Atlas Camp announcement of our CTO, Sri Viswanath, Atlassian is moving on to the GraphQL. As we are gradually moving towards the GraphQL, you are going to see more of this in future. And New Activity API is one of the first pieces of the Atlassian GraphQL platform. We are thinking about making it available to our ecosystem in future. So not only developers inside Atlassian can use it, but the broader community of the developers outside Atlassian too. First of all, it is GraphQL only. GraphQL allowed us to design the API with the flexibility in mind, to support all the existing use cases we've gathered in Atlassian today, as well as future use cases not yet foreseen. And here's the examples of some questions that it can answer today. It can show you activity of a single person. It can show you activity of a team. It can show you activity of a site. And it can show you activity of a product. One ring to rule them all. But seriously, it turns out all that time Elvis was GraphQL. Who would have thought, right? Anyway, let's talk about GraphQL. And I'll start with the quote from GraphQL.org. GraphQL is a query language for APIs and the runtime for fulfilling those queries with your existing data. In order to understand it better, we can compare it with REST. Contrary to REST, GraphQL is a single entry point for all your use cases. So you don't need to worry about different addresses and paths anymore. Another difference is that in GraphQL world, client has control over what data it wants to receive, which is different to REST. Again, in REST, data returned in the result is defined by the server. And finally, GraphQL's way of evolving is by updating schema and introducing new types and methods into that schema, whereas in REST, along with schema updates, you might want to introduce new URL paths and new addresses for your new features and use cases. All right, let me show you how new Activity API looks like. As you can see, we have different types of activities here: worked on, viewed, and all. Worked on and viewed types were introduced to simplify some of the use cases we have in Atlassian, such as showing only worked on or viewed issues or pages. These different types of activities are methods. This means that they can get arguments, such as filter to narrow down your query, and first to limit the result size. Now, word first is a standard for pagination from the GraphQL relay specs. This means that it can be used by multiple libraries out there, such as Apollo Client and etc. Today, we have star.lyceum.com available as the first solution built on top of the powerful Activity API. It provides access to user activities across products. We care about people, and this is why we moved from the site-centric world into the user-centric world. This provides ability to keep track of collaborative work across multiple sites, instances, and products. Let's look at some of the features of Star. As you can see, we have different types of activities here, which represent by different tabs, worked on and viewed, so people can easily switch in between them. Of course, we have activity here. These are the activity objects such as Confluence pages or blog posts or Jira issues. We have collaborators. These are the people who interacted with the objects recently. And we have last accessed or interacted with time of the object. Now, let me show you how we can get this recently viewed tab in the Activity API. We start with choosing a type of the activity. It is viewed. Then we say that we'd like to get objects out of it. Again, objects represent various work items. For example, object could be a Jira issue or a Confluence page. Before going any further, you might want to limit your result, say, to 10 most recent items. And now we can start adding fields that we would like to see in the result. In here, we are adding name of the object. Done. Here comes the result. We've got our recently viewed objects with names. You might have noticed that some of the fields were missing from the result. For example, we didn't ask for contributors, nor did we ask for the time. These objects here have links as well. All right, let's fix it. And yeah, so we start by adding an extra field to the query. It is URL. Then we put timestamp. And finally, we ask for the picture of the contributor's profile. Done. We've got our result. Recently used objects with name, URL, timestamp, and the picture of contributor's profile. Easy. All right, how about assign to me? Do you remember one of our first slides about user activities? As you can see, we have 5 most recent issues assigned to me in Jira. Let's build it. This time, we're going to go different approach, and we choose all activities. Then we introduce filter to our query. Filter is a very powerful tool. It allows us to slice user activities the way we want. You'll see it in a moment yourself. So we narrow down our query to the certain product. It is Jira software in this case. Then we define an object type. It is issue. Then we define event type. It is assigned. And then we limit our result to 5 most recent items. And we finish by asking the object name. Done. Here's recent assigned to me Jira issues. So you're probably getting the idea how it can be used already, right? To provide you a bit more context here, these are some of the fields that are available in the Activity API for querying. As you can see, object and contributors can be expanded into their own fields. And in fact, it is not a limit. With the power of GraphQL, we can start expanding things even further. So by starting in, for example, you can start in the Activity API and keep expanding those fields and end up in Jira software with its own specific fields, such as issue key and etc. This whole stitching is a long-term vision for our platform. To summarize all that, Activity API is a powerful tool. It allows us to slice and dice user activities the way we want. It is flexible, meaning that we can query only data we are interested in. It is universal. It provides a standard way of accessing user activities, regardless of its origin. And the power of cloud allows seamless access to user activities across products and instances. Pretty cool, right? One more thing. Hands up who have heard about Project Forge. Don't be shy. All right, I see that someone haven't heard about Project Forge. This is a surprise to me. First of all, I'm sorry. To explain what Forge in few words, it is our new Atlassian hosting capabilities which allow to build apps for our ecosystem developers. And today, I'm happy to announce that Activity API powers activity streams for Forge, which allows developers enable triggers around the activities. Also, we do have future plans to allow GraphQL subscriptions for the new Activity API. Now, Forge and Activity API are coming soon. Please stay tuned for the updates and reach out if you would like to know more. I think this is it. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience. It was a pleasure presenting to you.